Diplomats, this is your boy. Just wanted to step in here real quick. I know I'm looking like McGruff a little bit, but it's okay. Had a full day today, but out here on the porch, just reading. I like reading really good success principle books. But I just wanted to step in here real quick. And the reason why I want to step in here and to drop some golden nuggets is very simple, is because what I'm about to talk about, and I have it in the title, is something that a lot of people don't know how to articulate. They go through these situations in life, and they just can't get over it, right? And obviously, as I said before, the prison is in the mind, and that land of 6 inches between our ears is the defining factor and deciding factor of winning and losing, and achieving that vision that was already sold into you. So, how to turn a defeat into victory. So obviously you can choose anything, whether it be sports, whether it be, marriage, whether it be any type of relationship, positive. Also, you can choose whatever it is, we're going to fail. And as I said last week, and I think the week before that there's a difference between saying I am a failure and I have failed. Dramatic difference. So you and I will never be able to reach above the ceiling that we have, or the prison that's in our mind, right? So the goal is to break down and be unprogrammed or deprogrammed and reprogrammed with the right keys. You got to remember, keys are laws, okay? They're principles, right? So that's how this whole world system, or that's how this natural world is governed by laws. And those laws are obviously in the unseen, right? But you need to know what they are for whatever particular area in life. And so to turn a defeat into victory obviously starts with our mindset, okay? And then as whatever situation that comes up, it's your perspective and how you see it, okay? Your perspective, again, is connected to our mindset. So, our thinking is, a victory state of mind is all about capacity. That's what I learned from my mentors, and that's what I learned from a lot of reading. That's what I learned from even just in life. It's capacity is just a state of mind, okay? And so, every day we're going to come across certain, obstacles. Oh, and also is etymology, right? It's very important to know the different words. It's amazing how many words that I have stored in my mind that actually put me in a box mentally, and people just don't get it, man. It's just what the world is taught us to do, and they don't even understand. They put in like a spell on them. There's a reason why they have spelling bee, right? Spelling, put a spell on you, cursive, So we're cursing our own self. We're putting a spell on our own self. In other words, it's based upon the soulish realm, right? That's where the prison is, right? And so, why do you think marketing and advertisers put certain colors at certain spots on certain people? Why people say certain things? There's a philosophy behind that. And this is what I've gathered through reading and failing, and adjusting, And so how to turn a defeat into victory, it starts with that, right? The second thing you got to do is you have to say there is a way, okay? There is a way, and you have to believe that. Even if you don't see one in the natural, well, duh, seeing has to do with a function of the eye, but vision is a function of the future. Did you hear what I just said? And so saying to yourself, just saying it, there is a way, and just keep saying it, when you're trying to figure out that, how to get this, taken care of, how to pay this off, how to, get our kid in this school, how to, the car broke down and this car's going, so how do we figure this one out? You just keep saying there is a way, okay? Now, obviously, having a good attitude along the way, a positive mental attitude is very important. Treating people better than you want to be treated, not how you want to be treated, because I don't know how you treat yourself. Most people treat themselves like garbage, and it's sad because we've been conditioned like that. Okay, but treat people better. See, you heard it first here. Treat people better than you treat yourself. Okay, and you'd be amazed that, hey, I don't care if you got plenty of food in the fridge or fridges, and you got this car, that car, and you're traveling there or whatever. But hey, you know what? There's peaks and valleys in life. So if you treat people the right way, guess what'll happen when you're in your valley? Those people that you treated kindly, right? That you maybe blessed them with something, or not blessed them, because I don't like that word, because it means to hurt or injure. That's the original meaning. But anyway, but when you favor somebody, right? When you go out of your way to help somebody else out, guess what? Eventually, what's going to happen is that person, you never know when that person, man, woman, or even child, will be able to help you out down the line. So I've learned that. I heard this Jewish rabbi say years ago that it's he likes to. There's things that are out here in the natural that he'll take and that can be taken to confound the wise of the world. What do you mean by that, Tyreek? I'm kind of confused. Well, it's very simply put is that the education systems of the world, and the word education actually means to draw out. Okay, I didn't realize that until probably into my 40s, maybe 30s or something like that, to draw out. So you can be educated in anything, right? But the education system that we're sold on, people who, run the courses and jump over the hurdles there and do all the things that they do to get a certificate. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but you shouldn't let somebody else set your value. You need to set your own value, because people most likely overall will value you lower than, well, let me put it like this. Most people will value either you're at your level that you value yourself or lower, right? That's why you have to value you based upon kind of like a product is valued by a manufacturer, right? So, these cell phones, some of them are worth $1,500, $2,000, or whatever, $1,200. And, that's not cheap. I don't care if you're a millionaire. I don't care if you live under a bridge. I don't care if you're homeless. I don't care if you're a billionaire. $1,500 is $1,500, unless you wait another week and then that $1,500 is worth $1,400 because of all the printing the fiat money. But that's a whole nother topic in itself. So let me get out of here. I just wanted to give you some basic laws, some basic keys to give you access, authority, power, to give you control over circumstances. Because as I said before, that's the number one thing that all mankind is looking for, is their lost ability to control circumstances. That's why we do the things we do. That's why we get to go for the status. That's why we go for the titles. That's why we, want to have all these people follow us on these social media platforms. All that stuff like that. It's a desire for power, and that power gives us a feeling, and that's the power that was lost thousands of years ago. So I'm literally showing you, I'm literally telling you of things that I've been through, things I've been mentored through, things that I've read over the last 25 few short years, that how to control circumstances in particular areas, because I've done it, right? So being able to walk with authority and power, and is because, and having that confidence is very simple, is the right kind of knowledge is power. And when you get that knowledge, guess what? Of those keys of what law needs to go where. So it's kind of like those Lego blocks. Everybody's done the Lego block thing when we were 2, 3, 4, 5. You got to put the square block into the square hole, right? But unfortunately, in how we're conditioned, and there's some major factors behind everything, people especially, money and systems that are created to do that. But unfortunately, we can think sideways, we can think upside down, we can think backwards, and try to take a triangle cube, or a triangle cube. That's a new one. A triangle block, and try to put it in the square hole, right? And then if it doesn't go in there, what do? We try to take a hammer and pound it in there. Well, we just broke the law. We just broke a law, right? It's like breaking a key. If you break a chip off your front door key, it's not going to work, right? So anyway, let me get out of here. So that's just a little teaser of how to change a defeat or turn a defeat into victory. You have to say, it's a mindset. You have to tell yourself there is a way, no matter what it looks like, no matter how long it's been. See, most people give up. I'm going to give you this tip before I get out of here. Most people give up. When I say most, I'm talking about 90 to 95% of the people actually give up on certain things, especially if your endeavor is right. I'm talking about the things that are righteous, right? Most people give up, and I've done it before in the past, not knowing a lot of these principles before they get their victory. You see what I'm saying? So, I want to lose weight. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to learn this. I want to learn that. And, I'm just not feeling it. I got a headache, or I'm not feeling well, or, this person said this, or whatever excuses that we all come up with, that includes me both. You and me both, right? And we end up giving up too early. I've done that, a few times in my life. And some of the things that it's right before you're about to give up, and you say, you know what? I've been trying it this way. Why not try it another way? So you have to merge. Listen to me. If you do have persistence in what you're looking to go after, whatever objective it is, here's another tip I learned. You have to add experimentation to it. You see what I'm saying? So you can be persistent all you want, but you can persistently fail. And I've done that with many different things. Discoverers, they persistently do certain, laboratory, experiments and everything like that, one way, but we haven't heard of them before. And that's very simple, is because they didn't try something different. Maybe they needed to change the temperature. Maybe they needed to change the volume. Maybe they needed to decrease or increase, of the, whatever, the materials. I'm just throwing stuff out there. Maybe they need to, throttle back. Maybe they need to do some more fasting. Maybe they need to change their eating habits. Maybe they need to talk less, right? Because we have 2 ears, and I'm talking to myself too, right? Maybe we need to do it this way, so there is a way if we allow our brain that operates with 20,000 trillion calculations a second, that's the height of it, although we're only operating at about 7 to 10% last time I checked of our mental capacity. But capacity is a state of mind, okay? So hopefully that helped you guys out. Hopefully you apply those principles, those keys, because I guarantee you that means you're increasing value. And when you increase your value, you increase your options in life, you increase money, you increase friends, good, rich relationships, you increase all that stuff. And when it's all said and done, when you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 100s, or whatever it is, because of what I just told you, I promise you, I guarantee you, because I didn't get this from myself, right? These laws, these keys, these principles, you'll have less regrets when you get into that age when it's all said and done, okay? So you guys have a great night. I'll be hollering at you next week. Kingdom Diplomat out. And to all my Kingdom Diplomats, remember, your future's not ahead of you. It's trapped on the inside of you. You got to get your right seed, or the seed inside of you, your vision in the right environment, so you can win. Okay? I need you to win. Your family needs you to win. Your neighbors need you to win. It's not about us, guys. I'm telling you. It's not about us, because none of us can do it by ourselves. You can't do evil by yourself. You can't do unrighteousness by yourself. You can't do bad things by yourself. You're always going to need somebody else to have the same mindset. And you can flip that on the right side. You can't do good things by yourself. You can't achieve your vision by yourself. You're always going to need like-minded people, or people who just will support your vision, right? Who will support your dream. Okay. And you guys have a great night. Peace out.